Welcome to the latest episode of the Forecast in 5. I'm your host, Seth Katz. Joining us today is Craig Sullivan. Craig serves as the president and founder of CLIC Media. The company was launched in 2017 to create the only lodging conference focused exclusively on the California hotel market. Craig is widely recognized as an expert in California hospitality, lodging, investment, and in commercial real estate development. He is a popular speaker, panelist, and moderator at many leading national hospitality and investment conferences, as well as commercial real estate conferences across the state. During his professional career, Greg held a number of executive leadership and business development roles in commercial real estate with an emphasis on the hospitality and hotel industry, and has also helped underwrite nearly $25 billion in hotel transactions across the globe. Welcome, Craig. Appreciate you being with us today.
Seth, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, let's get started with some questions. In recent years, CLIC Media has evolved into a media group and has gained a trusted reputation for its annual conference that focuses on the hotel market in California. Can you share a bit more with our viewers about what makes this gathering so important?
I'd be glad to. I think it's an interesting story on how the conference got launched. I was coming back from basically the last national conference of the year. And in the general session that opened it, there were a lot of executives from various brands, management companies, ownership groups. And a lot of them were really bad-mouthing California. And and the conference I was at, I've got to state, is my favorite one of the year. It's the last time that I get to see everybody. It's gathering information, business plan adjustments, and everything else for the oncoming year. Great educational components. But I came back and I was the chief development officer at a boutique firm that had 17 hotels in California and another 4 in Chicago, and one under construction here in California. And I called 10 different industry leaders, different disciplines, sent out 10 different email invites because I didn't want any posturing. I wanted everybody to show up in my office, gave them an elevator pitch. 6 months later, we had our first conference and we sold out. The importance of this conference is, at the time, California was either the 6th or 5th largest global economy. And I'm going, wait a minute, how about you guys just say thank you very much? Yeah, we've got our idiosyncrasies on getting stuff done here, but so does New York, so does Chicago, Florida, Texas, various other states. So it's always been about boots on the ground and having the people all in one room, including all of our exhibitors, that you can get a deal done. It's a day and a quarter conference. The first night is really a welcome reception where you can have that handshake with people that you maybe get to see 2 or 3 times a year, meet other industry leaders that you should get to know that are focused in the California hotel market. And they're from all over the country. Even some international ownership groups show up. We've got 10 brands from Red Roof to Marriott. We've got lenders from the CMBS market, from national banks and community banks, even credit unions that make loans in commercial real estate. And then we've got insurance carriers. Insurance is a huge issue across the country. So we put everybody, top brokerage firms, third-party professionals, everybody that can help you with your deal. And the thing that's really nice about our conference is, with the brands that we have, it's their franchise development teams that work in the state. So this is your opportunity to talk to them about possibly reflagging or doing a ground up new hotel with them, those type of things. So it's a unique conference, and then it's done, it's over, and you're back in your office on Friday, and you can start passing the information around to your team as to what the projections are. Bruce Ford from Lodging Econometrics does a deep dive in the construction and renovation side of the hotel market, and everybody wants his PowerPoint. So it goes up on our website the day after the conference. So, but yeah, it's very informative, and by design, it's a boutique conference. Don't want 1,000 people there. Okay, a few hundred. Make the conversations important. Time is a precious commodity like anything else, and that's what we do.
Interesting to hear about the diverse number of industries that the conference attracts.
Yeah.
As you successfully establish yourself in the hospitality space within commercial real estate, what makes hospitality real estate distinctive when comparing it to other aspects of commercial, such as office and retail?
That's a great question, Seth. And I got to tell you, it's what got me to change over to other commercial asset groups to hospitality. It's the moving parts. It's the differences between an office, retail, and hotel, where you've got multi-year leases. Okay, I've got a 24-hour lease. It's a commodity. It's that I've got to sell that room. Okay, and if I don't sell it for that day, that's money I'm never going to be able to get. So, and it's other moving parts. It's the franchise. It's the amenities package in the hotels. It's a cash business, and it's a real estate play. And your better owner operators have, all gotten on board with that. You look at, some of the small cap companies that have started that over the past decade have grown, and they're now a mid cap company. Those mid cap companies have stepped up, and they're, now large companies. The brands have a lot to do with that. The lending side of it has a lot to do with that. CMBS, commercial banks, community banks, national banks, and life companies. It's always different. There's a lot of similarities from deal to deal, but it's always different. What does the Alta survey reflect? Oh my God, there's an encroachment. I was helping a client buy a hotel in Palm Springs. There was an old mall attached to it, and the hotel encroached about a foot into the mall, and it was over 30 feet long, and then the mall encroached into the hotel, by over a foot and over 30 feet long. And the city, way back when both were built, just, signed off on it. So we were able to anticipate some issues with that to make the lender comfortable and to make the ownership group comfortable. And we got, the title company to issue some specialized endorsements. So it's that deep dive, getting to know, okay, your title and escrow people, and being able to rely on them, and knowing that you can get endorsements. It's, those are just a few of the points I think they're a little bit different than an office building or, retail.
Definitely helps us learn more about hospitality real estate. And now, hospitality comes down to creating memorable experiences while providing exceptional services to your guests.
Yeah.
How have you embraced that throughout your career?
It changes with every segment within hospitality. Okay, if you're staying at a select service, that's going to be different than a big, fat, full service convention hotel that's got the restaurant and the bar and everything else. Staffing, certainly helps. And that's an issue. It has been for everybody for a long time. But, if you're going to a destination resort, and I'll name one of my favorite ones in California, Terranea. Okay, that took over 20 years to build for a plethora of reasons. But if you look at it, it's like 3.5 to 4 associates to every one guest that's there. So if I drop a towel, let's say somebody's, picking it up, and it's also that attitude, that comes in. They're friendly. Hotels do two things really good. Okay. They're welcoming, and for the most part, they're safe. You're sleeping there. Okay. Those are two things that we always have to keep in mind. And we try to hire teams that project that friendliness, that warm smile, that welcome. And one of my favorite places to sit is a hotel lobby. I can go work there, not be disrupted, but I can still see everything. And I can tell a lot about how that hotel's run by watching the associates interact with the guests. And it's all an experience, but is it a good experience, bad experience, or is it great? And most of our hotels in this state, thrive on trying to get to that exceptional guest experience. California is, I was born and raised here. I feel like I'm an ambassador for the state. I love this state. I love what we're doing. Do we have our issues? Yes. But you know what? Tourism is a huge money generator, an economic engine for this state.
Well said. Since we have many UCLA Anderson students watching who want to pursue careers in real estate, are there any pointers that you can offer these aspiring leaders why they should consider opportunities within the hospitality space?
I think it's the greatest part of commercial real estate. It's always different. It's thought provoking when you're working on the deal. Anybody can get in there and do residential flips. Okay, you get through the first two or three, and then it's just a routine. But it's different from brand to brand, from lender to lender, insurance carrier. Is it a unionized hotel? Is it a boutique hotel where you've got more freedoms to do things? I just feel that if you've got a great acquisition team and you've got a great management, either third-party management company or in-house, you can develop a chain of hotels that really stands out above everybody else. One of our local hotel groups, Pacifica Hotels, they've got a lot of hotels up and down the coast. They dominate up in the coastal areas in middle part of the state, and they get F&B, food and beverage, correct. It's a huge part of it. One of their downtown LA hotels, they brought in a company and they curate a meal to a movie. So, it's usually a comedy, and it's just something that the guests really enjoy. And if you want to do it as a private party, you can do that as well. So there's a lot of different things. It's, conference hotels. You go to a lot of conferences. I go to a lot of conferences. When you're at a conference hotel and it's hitting on all 8 cylinders, everything is taken care of. You've got no worries. Okay. Your biggest thing is getting out of the lobby because you're bumping into people that and trying to get over to the convention center that it's attached to. Okay. So I love it for that. I love the differences, the nuances between the brands, what the lenders are requiring. And I'm one who believes in having relationship lenders. I like having those deposits there. I like the access that it gains for me or the company that I'm working for, with the bank. It's like, okay, here, I need to get another loan. What can we do? This is where we think we can really turn this property around and make some money on it. And having that access, I think, really is to the best thing of your company and your growth.
Appreciate you sharing that perspective. Like any other industry, tourism across California faces ongoing challenges, from rising costs to labor shortages to changing customer preferences, in addition to many others. At the same time, there's plenty of opportunities since California will remain a highly desirable location, whether someone's traveling for business or leisure. If we look ahead over the next decade, what do you believe the future of hospitality real estate will look like across the state?
I think that this is the best time to be in hospitality because you can be promoted faster than in any other time in history. Labor shortages are definitely a problem, but we're not the only ones feeling that. Okay. I've got friends that are general managers that are either in the process of trying to get over to the company's development side and be part of their real estate group. And, they know the operations inside and out. So the longer the time frame is between ops and being on the acquisition team, your information gets stale dated. Okay. It's like a manager for a sales team, name any industry. Okay. They were really good when they were a salesperson, but as their career lengthens, they're not current on what's going on out there. And if you've got a GM, let's say, that understands revenue management, revenue enhancement, understands labor, understands scheduling, they understand it's called a PIP, property improvement plan that the brands bring out. They can figure all that in. They can walk in a hotel with you that you're looking to acquire and see the operations deficiencies right off the bat, and that gives you an edge. Plus, you've done your research on the market. What's your competitive set? So I think there's untold growth potential in our industry. You see a lot of people, our friends over at 24/7 Hotels, work for one of the major California owners, and they went out on their own, and they've done great. So there's lots of stories for that, and to kind of go back to what you had asked before about new people getting into the industry, get to know your trade associations, California Hotel and Lodging Association, get to know the national, the American Hotel and Lodging Association. There's AHOA, which is the Asian American Hotel Owners Association. 60% of all the hotels in this country are owned by Indians. And if you look at it, a lot of them were small mom and pop operators that have now gotten very, very large. And, they deal with Wall Street on a regular basis. So the growth potential, I think, is just unlimited. And that's what I love about it.
Tremendously helpful points, Craig. And that brings us to the end of today's episode. Thanks so much for being with us today, Craig.
Oh, it was my pleasure. Seth, you've got a great program here. I appreciate you having me on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Craig. And thanks to all our viewers for tuning in. We'll see you in the next episode of the Forecast in 5.